Welcome to the Let It Bleed podcast, a place where you can hear the liquor-fueled ramblings of two narcissistic wizards who conjure the essence of inspirational people every week and bring it straight to you.
And just how do you plan on doing that? Magic. Motherfucker.
And now for the wizards themselves, David Amaya and Phil Arroyo.
Hello, everybody.
We are back.
We're back. It does seem like it's been pretty fucking long.
Because it has been pretty fucking long. You know, we recorded, it's been over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of stuff has been going down.
Yeah.
And,
I made it back just in time to get this one out for tomorrow.
right.
Because it just flew in like just a few hours ago.
Yeah. Well, why don't you go ahead and give us a little recap of what you were going to be doing? I know it has to do with your conventions, and I'm not a nerd yet. I am just not a video game nerd yet.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
I know
what you're alluding to. I know what you want to talk about.
I know.
Yeah.
But
actually,
go.
No, we've actually been.
So what
it feels weird.
thing?
We just had a really good talk, and it was like a good 20 minutes of what would have been an awesome podcast. Then we're just like, oh shit, we should hit record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now we're doing something completely different.
Yes.
This is way different than that. So everybody knows that Phil does dope shit for which company? Ubisoft.
I do. Yeah. I work in video games. You know.
Is it Ubisoft again or Ubisoft?
You know what? It is whatever your heart desires. Everybody looks into the mirror and they see what they want to see in it. Some people see Ubisoft. Some people see Ubisoft. Some people see Boobisoft.
Well, it's dope because it gets him to go to these fucking conventions all over the place, and you were in Washington and San Francisco. Recently.
I am not mad at this. It's the best job I ever had, and I hesitate to talk about it sometimes because by the nature of everything that we're doing here, and it does get to be a little bit higher profile,
right?
I should say, but I think it's all out there. People kind of know. I just fear that kind of we talked about.
Fair
I don't
enough.
remember if you. Remember that we talked about the thing called Gamergate a couple weeks ago. It was the trolls, like the kind of red pill men's rights trolls that would she relearned a new skill while we were gone too. She can roll
blunts.
Sick blunts now.
Did you watch the Tupac YouTube video on how to roll a blunt? There's like a video that somebody posted, like it shows him rolling up a blunt, like he gives you all the steps, like literally like just him with his homies. He sits there and does it like less than a couple minutes, and he's just like, that's how you roll the blunt. I was like, damn, that's genius.
I feel slighted because I watched the Wiz Khalifa one, and that's how I kind of learned. I would have rather learned from Tupac though. Dude,
he did it like such a gangster, like at a park. You're like, this is pre like YouTube days, This was like before they created like how-to videos. It was just more like right on the spot. They're just like gonna catch him rolling a blunt and just killed it.
I love imagining his homies like standing there with like one of those big ass like JVC camcorders, just filming Tupac in a park rolling.
Because that's what it would have had to have been at that time. It had to be like a fucking. You couldn't just. One
of those big home movies thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I like to imagine them buying that.
Any video camera at that time had to have been fucking ginormous.
Yeah, they were the size of a fucking. We don't even make anything that is that size anymore.
Right.
I just tried to pull like something modern, and I got nothing.
Right.
Oh man.
TVs are barely that size. No,
not even, man.
They're bigger.
All right. Well, anyways, this is riveting podcast conversation. But yeah, so I was talking about Gamergate, which was a bunch of guys who just see the video game industry as predominantly male. It's a very macho thing, which is actually not true. In that video games actually started. It was Nintendo who actually started marketing to boys back in the 80s as a strategy because video games were dying off and they weren't going to catch on. Nintendo started marketing them as like, oh yeah, like it's your friends, and they're all boys in the commercials and everything's like lasers and shit like that, But originally they were marketed to both, and just as many boys and girls played video games. And then there was that big campaign in like the late 80s, early 90s, and it got kind of solidified as that thing. And then more and more, it has actually shifted back to what it actually is, and especially as the marketing now has kind of gotten, well, not as specific in some respects. And it's now like, according to a couple of studies that I saw, it's about 50%.
Wow.
You know,
I mean, I'm not surprised. I anytime we ever played, my sister or any girl that was around would always play. It's like, video games were just kind of universal. I understand, like, when you probably get into like the teenage years or whatever, like that's the way it was. But I mean, I've definitely heard that women, are kicking ass at like conventions and shit and like winning tournaments and stuff like that. Which is, I mean, I've always kind of thought that they were a huge part of it.
yeah. Well, and that's I think most decent people, I think, recognize that and understand that. Anybody who has at least been around it or knows the industry well and stuff like that.
Right.
There is a vocal sect of shitty people who think video games are not for girls.
Oh,
and they
so
fucking
they're like
harass
the video
them
game
and stuff like that.
incels or incels? Is that how do you say that?
Yeah.
They're like the
incels.
video
It's the
game
same,
guys.
In general, they're talking about a very similar group of people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a topic that I have seen actually kind of come up like lately in the past couple months, especially as we're talking about stuff. And it just strikes me as so crazy that some of these people who talk like they're, in such positions of authority because they've been playing for a long time and, they don't call many girls faggots while they're playing Call of Duty.
Right.
It's the kind of kids that just use that shit, like
they're just
they get on Xbox Live and they think it's cool to just you can tell they are 12-year-old white kids just shouting the N-word.
You gotta
like,
think
nonstop.
that has had that has to, like, video games and the fact that you can actually get online and play a video game with a complete stranger from across, that just opens up your audience as a kid so much more to want to impress other kids with stupid shit that you say. Like, seriously, remember when you were kids? Like, I remember the only reason I started watching South Park as a kid was because they cussed on it, and like the other kids were like, their brothers and shit would watch it, and so they were allowed to, so I would go sneak and watch it. Obviously it was one of the greatest like satire shows of all time, but at the time I didn't know that. I just liked it because of that. Like, imagine me being that kid. I skipped the whole thing, as I've said. I've skipped the whole video game thing and like talking online and playing those kind of shooter games with everybody. But like, I can just imagine kids just get out there and just fucking act a fool because you can say whatever the fuck you want.
It's a weird outlet. Oh no, and I think there's been a response to it because I think for a long time, that was huge. That was it's still like a prevailing meme about what it's like to play online games, in that people just immediately will start just shouting obscenities at you, talking about your mom, saying the most racist shit they can come up with and stuff like that.
Really?
And
yeah. So that
I mean that it got that reputation for that, but I think it has been curbed by I think the majority of actual gamers kind of seeing the like toxicity of that, not wanting to add or be a part of it, seeing it as not just like harmless fun, but like, nah, this is real, and you're affecting you're affecting other people. There's somebody else like on the other end of that mic, and you can talk to them, that. And I think people, there's more empathy that has been like introduced into the culture. And so I'd say overall, like, things are getting good, but there are still some there are still some people out there like that,
right?
And it's annoying to me to like be closer to the people who are at the height of it, who are making it and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, you guys are like out of touch. I'm like, no, I see the numbers, and they overwhelmingly do not support your like thesis of, oh, girls don't play video games and like, these aren't real and stuff like that.
I mean, it doesn't matter what field you're in. That's a problem. I think that we're all like shit, like the world in general and tech and everything, the way business is run in just about every form of business, I think, or, when it comes to creating video games or movies, like the industries are going to drastically change because, I mean, it has to. It's the technology's changing. There's going to be so many more things that are possible, and the demographic is completely changing because, shit does change, and we're there looking at it. But the people at the top are like focusing on the non-important things. Like, they're not like, they just have no vision. Like they're only looking at just like what they think from like old shit. Things are fucking changing. You gotta pay attention to that, and they're like gonna just die off. Like, it's gonna be crazy. I
mean, there's a giant changing of the guard too, because we just had Les Moonves, who's been the CEO of CBS. He's run the whole company for like 2 or 3 decades, I want to say, and he just got well, do you know who Ronan Farrow is?
Mm-mm.
He's this like probably the most, like, one of the craziest investigative journalists that we have right now. He works for the New Yorker. And, like, if he's writing a story about you, you know you fucked up. Harvey Weinstein was Ronan Farrow. And there was a couple more of them that I don't want to misquote. Was Cosby one of them? But anyways, Les Moonves was the latest one that he released a story on. And it was, brutal hearing that. And so he had to step down because he, it's just just decades of sexual assault and all these allegations coming out and stuff like that. So yeah, no, they have officially ousted another bastard over there at this time at CBS. And, that's coming after all these other people that, have been kind of taken out of commission, making room for, other more, a more diverse group of voices. And I think that is, I think that's already paying dividends, and it's going to lead to even way greater things.
Right.
Not just this stock shit. But anyways,
yeah,
that's my point, in that these conversations, or at least this point of view, like it's a major point of contention online, because when you see, go into any random Facebook comment thread and just say that shit, and you'll get 100 people that are with you, and you'll probably get 25 trolls who just will not stop messaging vile shit at people. And so I'm proud of our company, because we do a lot of things to curb that. Lots of bans and stuff like that. We're not allowing racist shit, homophobic shit, and stuff like that. And like that's a bannable offense if you're like in game doing that, because some of these communities can get toxic pretty quick.
Oh,
and
I can imagine.
Yeah, and that ruins. That's like not fun. It's not a good. It's like there's a concerted effort to break that stereotype. I could not be more behind it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I don't talk about it as much on the podcast, just because there's a certain oh man, is this gonna upset somebody? Or are they gonna tie it back? Is it gonna be a thing? 'Cause I don't want people to think that everything I say is representative of my work. Yeah. Because it's not. It's representative of me and just me. So I like to talk about it when I can. But
I think that's good that you just clarify that, because that's what I do too. What I do for work, or right now what I do for work, is a part of what I do, but it's not me. So my views and anything that I express has nothing to do with the company necessarily, or the outside of work. Everything that I say, I'm not Elon Musk over there, on the Joe Rogan podcast, getting scrutinized for smoking a joint, which is stupid as fuck, by the way. But
that was a weird ass conversation. Did you listen to the whole thing?
I listened. I was actually listening to a little bit of it earlier, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it all the way through. I did listen to the beginning part a couple times, and it was in the beginning when I was watching it the first time, because I was watching it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It was just is this guy scared, or is he just kind of quirky, that quirky, or is he some sort of savant? Because he was just kind of I don't know if he was actually missing the questions that he was asking him, or just kind of just playing dumb about it. Because
by the way he was talking, I don't know why I had the idea, based on the way he tweets and he writes and stuff like that, and I hear quotes from him, I kind of hear Elon Musk is more
yeah, he's way more charismatic.
Charismatic.
Shit.
He was Tony Starkish, just to live up to that comparison that people always make.
I wonder if he got stoned with him before the show, and he just got super in his head stoned, and was you know what I mean, just kind of sitting there thinking fuck, I don't want to say I don't want to say it. And that's why he probably wasn't inhaling, because there was that whole shit going around about him not even inhaling the weed too. There was all these fucking trolls. There's a bunch of trolls saying that he wasn't inhaling. They're watch the video. It's
man.
There's comics of him doing it. And so
he says in the video, I don't smoke weed. Yeah, I've barely ever smoked weed before.
And how it could fuck you up in the head when you're having a conversation. Yeah. I smoke weed every day, and I'm over here sometimes getting huh? What?
You realize no matter how this goes, people are going to talk about it. You might want to be of sharp mind and body at that point.
But at the same time, it's also the Joe Rogan podcast, and it's what else do you expect? And it is legal, and it's it shouldn't in any way. When I was hearing people make the argument for why it should be even a big deal at all, it's just wait, what? You're just
it really shouldn't. But when you've got that many eyes on anything,
Of course,
it's gonna
but it's
become a
time
big
to
deal.
make those eyes. Hey, look at me. This is what I'm doing. There's nothing wrong with it. Like that's
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's,
I was only struck by how like that was the first like long form thing I'd heard of him. I was surprised by how underwhelmed by him that I was.
Yeah, me too.
know?
But that's what that's what made me think like, he's obviously a brilliant guy, but there's also like, what is he either trying to hide or in the, I mean, he is brilliant no matter what, but like in the episode the podcast, he was just like asking about certain ideas because we assume that like every single thing that they do over, at Tesla is his idea, and it's not. Like he's got engineers, he's got all these other people that are coming up with stuff, and he's like the director, he oversees it. He's like, yeah, go ahead, cool, do that. But he's not necessarily the one just sitting there, because Joe was kind of trying to ask him that, like, how do you have the time to like do all of this shit? Like where do you get the permit? Like where do you go about getting a hole dug in the ground? He's like, well, people dig holes all the time.
Yeah, it was
like what?
Yeah, it was a pit. We asked for a pit. They gave us a pit. It was a pit. He said pit like 17 fucking times, and I was like, am I having a stroke? What's happening
Dude,
right now?
He's an alien, man. I'm telling you, that guy. I don't know.
Like, I still gotta respect him.
Oh,
I was just kind of just thrown off by it.
I admire him still. I mean, it's the podcast episode. It's not his life. It's not the end of all things. But I do see what you're saying. I kind of was like expecting it to be like way more. I guess you could say way more of a personality, such as like Neil deGrasse Tyson, someone who can just like be super eloquent.
Did you listen to Tyson's?
Yeah, I was listening to his, and it's like that guy knows. That guy is made for the camera, though. Like that guy is good at like
He's
what he
so
does.
good at being a spokesperson for science in general.
Yeah.
But that one was really good. That one, because it blows me away how often I can listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson talk, and how many of his things that I hear that are just like for people that are like, it's like basic science education for like, people
articulates great ideas
in
and
Missouri who have not like had a textbook that was made after 1948.
Yeah.
And like, he can still just consistently blow my fucking mind every time, which is why I'm actually super stoked because I get to go to New York next week because we're doing an event at the Hayden Planetarium. That's the one he's the director of in charge of.
Cool.
So I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
I didn't know what that was, but that's awesome.
Oh,
So you're going to see him there?
That's his like regular job that he does when he's not out touring and writing books. He's over there like running the Hayden Planetarium, which, I mean, I don't know a lot about planetariums, but it's the only one I've heard of. So I feel like it's significant.
Yeah, well, I mean, anything that he's behind. He's like, he I don't know, like I have like the same kind of love for him that I do with like Reggie Watts. It's it's like a very similar thing because to me they both like represent this like cool like new style, something that's like fresh, just like I don't know how to explain it. Like I get the same level of excitement to watch or hear Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about science as I do somebody just like free form express themselves at a show. Like I'd rather watch Reggie Watts do that than any DJ. I don't care what the DJ is. Like I'd rather see him do that performance, and everybody else was like, no, what are you talking about? Fucking, Diplo, no. And it's like, wait, what? No, I don't give a fuck about Diplo. I want to go watch fucking Reggie Watts.
Reggie
do
Watts
this.
is something like some of the best artistry. Like
when we saw him do that,
I've never seen anything like
at
that. That's
Dirty
amazing.
Bird with the fucking golf cart scene.
Yeah,
like that was like the dopest fucking thing I'd ever seen. That was the after show after his actual performance, and just sitting in a golf cart with the fucking microphone.
Well, we left our camp.
Yeah.
Not expecting anything. Just going to go walk and just see what people are doing at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And then fucking Reggie Watts just like pulls up, not an announced show or anything like that, just pulls up in front of us and just starts playing with his whatever you call that like contraption that he uses to, his loopers and all of his like stuff that he does. And was just making new songs nobody's ever heard of for like 15 people standing around a golf cart. Yeah. I'm like, dude, this guy is on late night TV every night.
Yeah.
That's
Big
fucking
deal.
Which I had completely forgotten about that until I like just had I turned on a hotel TV last night and it was Colbert and then it ran into James Corden. And then I was like, I heard Reggie Watts. I'm like, wait, what? Oh shit, that's right. I've never actually seen the James Corden show. And then he was, doing.
So is that what he's
he
doing now? He's like the guy for that
he's
show?
He's the whole. I was gonna say he's the band leader, but I think he's the whole band.
Because that's what he did for Comedy Bang Dang. That's
Yeah.
what he started. That's like was his main gig, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then he got off there and he's doing that for. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't keep up
And then
with
he left Comedy Bang Bang to do James Corden.
Got it.
Yeah. And so I remember when that happened, but then I didn't put the two together because who the fuck wants to watch the James Corden show?
I don't even know who James Corden is. But that's me. I'm that guy. But I told you before about my experience. Actually, the first Comic-Con, the one that you and I hung out at.
I was going to say, like, do you want me to like ask him if he remembers your dick or something?
See, yeah, I got to take a piss next to Neil deGrasse. I actually fucking totally forgot about that until we were just talking about him right now, and I was like, holy shit. Like, that I have an experience with both of them. Like, I was right next to both of them. Like, like there's
Neil deGrasse Tyson and his dick?
And yeah, that too. No, Reggie Watts.
Oh,
We
yeah,
were right
okay.
there.
Yeah.
Like, we were like, you know what I mean? Like, somebody
I
you look
forgot
up
already
to.
who we were
And it's
talking
not like
about.
he's on stage and you're like, it's like, oh, he's like within like, a very short proximity that we are like basically fucking homeboys. We're like best friends,
Yeah.
Like, we're kicking it. And, I mean, how much closer can you get to a man than, basically
peeing
being
next
able
to
to see his dick
Yeah.
at a urinal at the fucking Hilton Hotel right above the fucking Chuck Jones Gallery.
Absolutely.
That was crazy.
A guy I peed with next to, like, at a concert, like, 6 years ago. He's going to be the best man at my wedding. I told him that already.
What's his name?
Jerry.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know where to go with that, Jerry.
I don't either.
But anyway,
I was like trying to riff a name, like a famous Jerry.
Yeah.
And then my two that I came up with were Falwell and then Sandusky. And then I was like, nope, like just bail on this one. You can't come up with anything but like the worst people ever to exist named Jerry.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I wanted to bring up something before I totally forget because I mean, I know that there's
that's
so
going
much
to happen. So shoot.
Yeah, I know there's so much more to talk about that may be important, but this was something that fucking shocked me, and I feel that you may have even been the one who told me about this movie, but I can't remember exactly who told me about it. Anyways, have you ever seen Tusk?
Oh yeah, I was the one who told you about that movie.
You and I think a few other people told
me,
and I saw it, and I was just
holy shit.
Saw it on Netflix. It was there, and I'm like, oh, Justin Long. Why does this sound familiar? And then boom, like they're playing, and obviously right away it hits home just because of the whole podcast thing, and you're like,
yeah,
holy shit, this is this is pretty relatable. And you think you get the vibe that it's like it's gonna be a good movie, and then totally takes you for a fucking complete spin. And I'm so glad that my memory is shit and that I don't remember you giving me any sort of details because I saw it and I was like, what the fuck?
So you didn't know or remember?
I don't remember
that the premise of this movie is that he gets turned into a fucking walrus at some point.
Completely after the fact, I remembered. After the shock, value was still really good. I still was like, wait, somebody was telling me about this, and like I totally forget where, and I was probably right here, but I'm so glad that I didn't expect that because actually, I won't say glad because if you watch it and you're like, you're glad that you didn't expect that? What the fuck? That shit's fucked up. And I mean, I showed my coworker that, and today he even brought it up. I showed him like 3 weeks ago, and he was like, or 2 weeks ago, he's like, dude, don't ever please just whatever it is, no fucking walrus guy thing. I was like, okay, cool, dude, because that shit was fucked up. And dude, I mean, you're like obviously watching the movie and you're thinking like this has got to be a comedy. The accents are highly exaggerated. And what made me think about it right now is the fact that you always say about like a Canadian, you always say a boot, like just pay attention for it. And so I was just thinking about Yoga Hosers, which is the other movie.
That's the second. That's the one after that
with Johnny Depp's daughter and his daughter, which was completely different and obviously the same character. And when I was watching Tusk, I was like, that's Johnny Depp? And I'm like, but no, that's not Johnny Depp. And I'm like, oh wait, shit, that is Johnny Depp.
Because his daughter and Kevin Smith's daughter are best friends. Yeah, and Johnny Depp will say yes to anything. Yeah. So Kevin Smith's like, hey, do you want to put on 7 pounds of prosthetics and be a weird accent like detective again? And he was like, yeah, all right, sure.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah, and then I guess he went to star in Yoga Hosers, which I have not seen yet. It's because apparently that's a whole other genre.
It's a whole other genre. So like this one is, it's like hilarious. Like Tusk is great because it is fucking freaky. Just the concept of it happening. Like
I love that just in the credits they play the
the podcast.
the podcast episode where they're just
making
high
it-
as shit,
Making it
just
up.
shooting stupid ideas back and forth,
That's
and
what's up.
they play the like 3-4 minute clip that eventually became this movie.
And that's
And
why
it's
I
like-
love it. It's so cool. Like that idea, just being able to take a stupid idea that you have and make it something awesome that people are going to remember.
That's-
I mean, Sharknado became a fucking movie, you know?
But
and
this one was, this one was so great because
Oh, yeah.
we see the whole process.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
It was kind of crazy. That whole, chapter went from listening to that to him actually making the movie to watching the movie. It was
Yeah.
such a masterclass in just doing shit.
Yeah.
Because throughout the whole time he's chronicling how what he's doing to get the movie made. And you're hearing about it in real time and realize he's just demystifying the whole process. And it was really it was just so great because I love when they do that because it makes everything kind of feel more accessible. You know, it takes Hollywood and media production like that, just takes it all down a peg and puts it at your level, and it just makes you that's an empowering feeling,
Right.
Because you feel oh man,
You don't really have to
I can do
invest
this too.
anything into it. You're just watching it just to you're not worried if you're missing a tiny little bit of it, but you can appreciate the fucking story. And you were saying though with Kevin Smith going from producing Clerks for whatever little budget that is and whatever independent things he created to even be awarded that opportunity to create
Clerks was his first
thing.
That was his very first thing.
And it was his only thing.
And,
Okay, so
yeah,
then
and
from
it was,
him to go to that,
self-funded, he was using the convenience store that he worked at during the day.
Yeah.
And then filmed that shit at night.
oh my god,
And
see?
just wrote it and did it all in
Yeah.
this weird black and white kind of avant-garde thing. And then it just it just blew up and it gave him a career from there.
Right, but he hasn't stopped. Whether you like his stuff or not, whether it definitely is its own thing. It's its own style, and you can definitely tell from the writing to. For him to do all of that too, to direct it, to write it,
Yeah.
even be the complete opposite in his own character in Jay and Silent Bob. He's Silent fucking Bob.
And
That's
he's such an affable guy in reality too. You know, because he was one of the first people to actually start podcasting.
He's super humble too.
Oh yeah, way humble. And he talks about literally every part of his life. And I feel like I know the guy well. And I think that has ultimately led to a giant upswing in his movies because when you can feel the whole process and know what it is to get through it, and you see it as this labor of love, for what it really is.
Yeah.
I think that's you build more of a connection to that movie, that series of movies and stuff like that. And you just respect all the finer details that get walked through.
Yeah.
Have you seen Red State, by the way? That was one he did in a few years ago,
Red State?
2015, I want to say.
No.
Red State. It's really good. It's the same guy who turns Justin Long into a walrus.
He passed away. Or
He
also
passed
in
away
Kill
about
Bill
a
and
year
stuff.
ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
But he's a phenomenal actor.
Oh yeah.
And he's this cult leader in Red State.
He would
and I don't
be
want
a
to
cult
say
leader.
I don't want to say anything more than that. Just if you haven't seen it, go ahead and see it. I know I saw it on Netflix once upon a time. I don't know if it's still there.
Okay.
But yeah, no, check that shit out. If you liked Tusk for the creepy elements of it,
Yeah.
it feels like if it wasn't trying to be ironic and funny, it was just actually well written. You
Right.
see a version of Tusk if they
It's
were
kind of
actually
like
trying.
that, yeah.
And it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sincere, and then it throws you off with okay, there's no way that they can be trying to exaggerate this accent, Johnny Depp being this just really just ridiculous fucking French dude,
Yeah.
or all even the Canadians or Ralph Garman, which I absolutely love though, seeing him on there, and he's in Yoga Hosers as he has a more prominent role in Yoga Hosers, and you could tell he had a lot to do with the at least certain parts of the writing and just stupid
I feel
shit.
like I know most of the movie because I listen to I don't listen to it as much anymore, but I listen to Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith's podcast for
they have one together,
You didn't know that,
dude?
They've been doing that for years, man.
I keep my head aside from what we're doing, I'm I've exhausted all the Netflix shows, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and I just kind of try to draw and then go to work, and I just don't there's just too many things out
Wait,
there.
Netflix shows. Before I lose this one, have I talked about the documentary Bombshell yet on the podcast?
No.
Dude, okay.
Bombshell.
I feel like this is like a public service that I need to give out to people. Okay. Fucking Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story on Netflix is like one of the craziest.
Who the hell's Hedy Lamarr? I don't know.
I'll tell you right now. It's one of like the craziest documentaries I've ever seen. So Hedy Lamarr was this like big time actress in like the 1940s, like a lot of that, golden age of Hollywood and stuff like that. And she starred in all these movies and stuff like that. And that's, what she was known for. That's where I had like heard the name, wasn't super familiar with her or anything. And like it tells her life story, which is insane. Because she actually was a brilliant inventor as well as being like a Hollywood starlet, and like GPS technology, Wi-Fi, like Bluetooth, like all the communication like that we use today, all of that shit is actually like partially like based around technology that Hedy Lamarr, the same Hedy Lamarr that starred in fucking Algiers in 1942, is like, she invented that shit. It's crazy, man.
Wow.
So
there's that, and then there's the Andre the Giant documentary,
which
too.
I have not seen yet.
Oh, really?
But,
okay, yeah, you definitely.
But I'm excited for it.
Good documentaries always make me happy. Like really, like ones that just like get you like that. Like that one's like one of those ones like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The one that you're talking about, like like really, like.
Dude, she was a fucking badass, and she fucking invents this crazy shit because she reads that the Germans, like in 1942, mind you, she escaped like Nazi Austria in a badass way. I don't want to like. I've been getting too excited and telling everybody like the whole movie.
Hopefully, it's not like that one movie that Angelina Jolie directed about that guy that was the military guy. Because it's like after that kind of movie, you're just like, I can't really do anything in this life to be like a decent person. That just made me feel like I'll never be as good as this guy.
Watch this documentary because I swear I want her I want to have a holiday around her or some shit like that, because they fucking stole her idea because she invented a remote control torpedo to use in World War II. And then like they basically stole her idea, never gave her any kind of credit for it. And she was this like massive patriot who ended up also raising like what's the equivalent of like $300 million today. Shit. And like just for the war effort. She was just like genuinely like just so good and just invented shit and just kept up with it all the time. And at every corner, she just got shat on like non-stop by the fucking like by the press and by just media and every man that was the gatekeeper of the inventor society and the Navy and fucking big Hollywood movie studios and shit like that. And she got nothing but like complete shit for it. She basically like tortured most of her life by everybody along the way, and she kept going with all this crazy shit.
Fun.
And so yeah, it's a really like it's a tragic story, but in a way that I'm glad she got to know that like just before she died, somebody actually like an investigative journalist actually like looked through and found out that it was actually her and her ideas that like were what was taken, and then they built from there to make like GPS and Bluetooth and all that. And so she did get to know a little bit before she died, but it's still like the full extent of that. Like she went her whole life going, nobody knows like how much she's done or appreciates her for like who she really is and stuff like that. And now there's this like brilliant documentary that shows that. And I feel like it's I've felt like I've had to tell everybody I talk to because it's a fucking crazy story, and I feel like we should all know who that is.
Well, I'm definitely going to go fucking find out who that is now too. Yeah, it's important because I mean, there's so many of those things I would easily pass up by browsing through Netflix. Like if it's kind of like there's just so many things to choose from. Like a lot of the times it is just choosing a book by its cover, And like I've gone back and watched movies later that I like would have never like thought to watch really, and I was just like, holy shit, I am so glad I just took a random fucking chance on this random movie because, I would have never picked this movie. I would have never fucking picked this movie.
Dude. Oh, and then I watched The End of the Tour, like 2 days after that.
What's that?
With Jesse Eisenberg and Jason
I
Jason
saw
Segel.
that.
The David Foster Wallace movie.
What do you think about that?
I really liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was like cool, interesting, and like a relaxed movie. Like not one based around a lot of tension, but they brought up some very interesting ideas that I am guessing must have been I don't know David Foster Wallace's like writings at all.
Not really.
I just kind of I'd heard the name before.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pretend like I know more than I do. But in that movie, and I watched this 2 days after I watched the documentary. He goes, "Oh, hey, do you guys want to watch Algiers, starring Hedy Lamarr? Do you know she invented frequency hopping? It's just a throwaway line." And I'm just like, what the fuck?
That's that fucking synchronicity shit,
Dude,
man.
seriously.
That's that fucking shit right there, dude.
Yeah. And now I'm not sure if like Joe Rogan saw the same documentary that I did recently.
What? Now there's some
But
like
I heard, but that Neil deGrasse Tyson episode,
He's talking about it too?
He forced that into conversation. And I was like, and then he was like, "Oh yeah." And they talked about it for a second, and then they move on to the next thing. But I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like this is so. I'm glad that I'm hearing it more, that people like know about this. But it was so crazy.
Joe was talking about the her, not Algiers.
No, oh yeah, no. Sorry, he was
Okay.
talking about her in that because
gotcha.
he was just as excited as like I have been lately.
I thought you meant
to,
he like did the line
have
like
that little
referencing
fact.
Algiers, and you're like, what? Like that's okay,
No,
cool.
no. I just realized, oh shit, as soon as anybody learns that, we want to inject that into conversation as soon as we can.
Got it.
I'm just as annoyed about it as they are.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm gonna go. I have some other stuff to watch then.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like just pissed off that I already like ran through everything that just got released on Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and shit. And I still don't have the Hulu account where you could watch the season 2 of Atlanta. They still only have season 1. And so then I watched the first episode on some website that like has shit, but then they didn't have like episode 2, and I was like, what the fuck? But somebody said you don't have to watch them in order this time.
Wait, watch what?
Atlanta
in order?
Season 2. I don't know.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but now that I'm like thinking about it more, I can't think of one that's like explicitly about the other. I mean, thematically, they all tie together really well.
Okay.
And I think there's a couple of them that do cross over a little more, where it's like, oh, that plot point continues. So I would still recommend watching them in order.
I
But
binge
think
watched Ozark, the season 2.
What do you think of that?
I thought it was good. I thought
I've never seen it.
It's well acted, and it's well written. Except, well, the lines, everything like that's well written. But like the concept, or just what goes on, like basically like the likelihood of what actually goes down in that actually happening in real life it's just like there's no fucking way. These people would have not gone this far. Like there'd be a lot of things in the way of this, but for just pure drama's sake, for entertainment's sake, it's really good.
But it's enough to. I don't even know what like the premise of the show.
Oh, you don't know it at all.
I don't know.
You haven't
it
even
at all.
seen like one episode.
No.
Okay. Oh. Yeah.
I think we started watching like the first 10 minutes of it, and I think it was Jason Bateman. Was Jason Bateman like watching porn like while his wife wasn't looking?
Yeah, it changes around a lot from
Okay.
that point, from that very point to where it ends up. It changes around a lot. A lot of shit happens. I thought it was good. I like it. It's definitely entertaining. It's definitely a series that I'm still...
if that review didn't convince me, your tone certainly did just now.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's my Larry David thing right there. It's like...
You should chat. I go super high.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's how I know it's not
But
good.
I mean, to be honest with you, then nothing I give you is going to tell you to really want to watch it, because that's kind of like my tone for just about everything that's out there. Holy shit! It's one of the bats.
There's tons of. Oh, what?
It's a bat.
That's a bat.
Mm-hmm. From that Ralph Steadman illustration. If you zoom out.
I nor anybody who's just listening to this right now has any idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Ralph Steadman. He was an illustrator for Hunter S. Thompson. So he did the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas covers.
Okay.
So that would be a bat from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Okay. That does make sense.
If you
It doesn't make any sense to anybody listening, but there's a picture of a canyon that just popped up on my Google Chromecast that looks like a bat.
Yeah.
And this is how.
No, that's it right there. That's it. That's actually it. That's not a canyon.
And so if you were curious about the marijuana intake of my co-host here today, I think that's
some like fucking Ralph Steadman.
I rest my case.
So what else are you going to talk about though? Because I know we went on a whole unplanned movie thing.
Well, okay, yeah, that was a little slight detour, but we can get back on track, because what we were talking about before was that Burning Man came and went
Yes.
since we were off. And when I actually stopped you and I said, "Oh shit," because you were about to go into something that I was also planning to talk about today. You were saying how when I was in Seattle for PAX, that's when I saw this, this whole like trippy setup and they had all these VR stations, and they had these like psychedelic VR games that looked super cool. Like there was one that was just, it was like a psychedelic like 3D free painter. So it's like you've got the controllers and you're building your art like in a virtual space like that. And it's just, it feels incredible to do. But they had a really cool like psychedelic one that I had never seen before. I'm like, that was dope. And then I kept on looking, and they had another like, it was like a groovy, it was like a kind of like a dancing game, but like you use all 4 limbs, and like you have the headset on, and you're kind of just like going through this like really trippy space, like through a desert and stuff like that. And these like boxes are coming out like with the music that sounded very, it sounded very like Dirty Bird,
Yeah.
And it was just like, they were so about it. Like these guys knew exactly what it was talking about. And I had never seen such a like crazy convergence of like the two things that I am like super interested in.
Right.
And I had their pamphlet here like a second
It might
ago.
even be the same group. So this group, this other group, did I tell you about the time I went with Kevin? I took him out to LA to this fucking ridiculously dope spot.
Yes.
With Westbaum.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
they were like jamming. He and Blair was on the drums. Kevin was on like sax and trumpet. I even got to jump in on guitar for a little bit, but mostly just chilling, watching them and Westbaum.
Yeah, I saw
basically
the video.
jam. Yeah, Kevin posted it where they were jamming over this like VR game that they're developing, and like the whole like environment, like the whole place was like the most. It's like, what the fuck? I can't believe this place exists here. It's like totally Silicon Valley like tech shit. Like like just the environment was like, whoa, this is a fucking clubhouse. Like this is like it was insane. Like and they're young people, like younger than us. That are designing and like creating these games and trusting their friends' like opinions on things and their own as well. But coming up with all this stuff, and it's like they're incorporating the music that we like into these things, and it's like
because it's basically us that are making these things.
Yes,
we have officially like reached the age where like most of the dope shit is made by us for us. You know what I mean? It's all like, mid to late 20s to mid to like mid 30s and shit like that. And so this company, Orpheus, I just got the my assistant, my executive producer just handed me this from the back. Yeah, it was Orpheus Self-Care Entertainment. That's the company.
Wow.
And Rave Runner was the game. Microdose VR was like the
Microdose VR.
Yeah, that's what caught my attention, was that they had a VR game called Microdose, and that's when I stopped and watched them.
Because the people that are designing these get their ideas fucking while they're fucking frying, man. That's what I was telling you. The guy that's doing that thing with Meow Wolf, there's a documentary on it. In fact, I forget what the name of the documentary is, but it's like about VR. And it's on Netflix. It's like a series, and the first episode shows this guy talking about Burning Man, talking about his acid trip out there, and like coming up with this idea to create this like daily usage like program for like meditation or something through VR though. Like it's a certain experience, and he's also working with Meow Wolf to create basically the additional experience to like you can put those on and walk through Meow Wolf and be in the same place, cool. But with like actual other things going on too.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if those were the same guys, because these guys were in Seattle.
Probably
and
not the same guys.
I think they were local to that.
They're just blowing up.
But what you're describing is something like similar to what I saw there that was actually really cool. The last one I saw was they had people actually lying down on like, it looked like a massage table, and they had the headset on. And they had a microphone, like I'm talking into it now. So if you guys know microphones, and you can imagine how far away my face is from it. And what they would do is it was set up for them to like breathe into it and make light noises and like hum. And it would like make all of their psychedelic, like they would just like manifest like psychedelic visions from that too.
So it's these people coming up with the similar ideas, like they have the similar ideas and they're creating their own versions of like, and it's just like music. Like when you're thinking about like the music that people. We were at the Closey show last week. You familiar with Closey?
No,
dude, you would love Closey's shit. She's fucking awesome. She's a French chick that does. Like she plays and records her own music. I fell in love with her since Eclipse. Couple of years ago, like very eclectic sounds, bass music, very dancey, and she we went out to the Roxy to see her, but we were commenting on like how one reason why it is super unique with these sorts of shows as opposed to just the DJs who come for clubs and like press play and stop and stuff, or like they're just kind of mixing something that's already pre-recorded. Like whenever you get bands like Grizz or even Opio or any of these people that have like a certain live element to it where they're playing something to it, like this is the way music has so changed, because you always had some sort of, or for the longest time we've had electronic or synthesizers and stuff like that to put into music, but now like it's completely changed. And so it's no longer guitars that are being compared or their instruments. It's like people's rigs. They have different rigs. Everybody's got a different system that they're running to play it. They've got a different keyboard. They've got some something different that's like helping them create the sound to their style. So the possibilities for all of these different styles and sounds is just so infinite in that regard, because technology is going to keep advancing and it's going to keep evolving, and so everything's going to be just slightly different. And so when you look at it that way, that's what I always encourage the people who may not necessarily be into this type of music, because it's like obscure, abstract. Like if you just go allow yourself to think about that side of it, and then go to a show and like fucking listen to it, like where the speakers, where it's supposed to be, right there too, because it's a lot different when you're listening to this bass music experimental on your computer as opposed to when you're right there around
iPod, laptop, or earbuds. Jesus
and
Christ. Okay.
The community is amazing too, because they're all very supportive of each other. It's like a very awesome community out there in LA where they're very like, they're all producers, and it's kind of oversaturated with it. But if you're doing your thing right, like, and you're in the right around the right people, you're going to be inspired to do some dope shit.
Did you? Because I saw this on Facebook. I don't remember if you posted it or not, but I saw this meme. It said like it was like 2000. It was like 2004. It's like guys play the guitar to get chicks, and then it was like 2009, like DJs or like guys become DJs to get chicks.
I probably
and then it was like 2007 or 2018. It's like DJs play the guitar to get chicks.
Yeah, DJs playing guitar. DJs playing guitar on their tracks to get chicks.
Was it on their track? I think it was just DJ. Oh, okay. No, whatever it was.
Because
like,
it's like because you see, DJs playing guitars, like meaning like a live show. Like it could be the trumpet or anything. You see that a lot, like trumpet, saxophone. But it's funny because I've said the same thing about guitars. Guitars are going to become the new saxophone, because back in the 30s, or whenever jazz was at like it's high, like that was the shit before electric guitars came onto the scene.
Yeah,
guitars weren't really.
Saxophones with the new oboes were the new cellos were the new two rocks banging together.
But it's about getting the dopest synthesizer that could get any one of those sounds and bend the fuck out of them, and then also have a mic where you can alter your voice and just do just about anything. So in that regard, it's really cool. We were talking just about how this is music now. Mm-hmm. Like when you used to watch movies, like for once, or I guess like The Fifth Element, or even other movies, when you think about the future, and you're like, how does it get from this point to that point?
Yeah,
we're in that, like, this is such a very fast moving. It's not even like very gradual. It's so fast moving that we're not even able to keep up with the changes. We're so stressed out with just trying to get by that we're not paying attention to that. Like most of us are not really paying attention to like noticing that this is we're like on that bridge right now. We're fucking building that bridge to how it's crossing over, and pretty soon everything we know about live bands, playing that way, it's gonna be an ancient thing. There's not.
I'll still pay to see Chris Tucker in a leopard onesie, like just belting out notes that are like beyond human capability.
That's what I'm talking about. When you're thinking about that.
Sounds great. If that's where we're headed, then I am okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, so yeah, no, that shit was a trip. And okay, wait, last part about these guys, I almost forgot. They're like, I was talking to these guys, and we were just shooting the shit. We were talking about Burning Man and all that. And he said that they had somebody out there at that moment who was testing out another one where they were like, they had a separate, like, I think it was like EKG sensor on their head. I'm fucking that up. Don't at me. And they were measuring brain waves, and they were having that actually like interact with the game and manifest like the visions that were in the VR shit. And I was like, Holy shit.
Because why wouldn't they be able to
That's
do that now?
fucking
you know,
crazy,
like
man.
I mean, somebody's built you the bridge to like lay all these other little things out. That really all I need now. It's like that's how like I feel like Elon Musk is. He's like, yeah, well, you know, we can do that. You know, like
just give me a pit.
Yeah, just give me a pit.
Give me a pit.
I'm so glad you felt the
I'll make
same
a
way
train.
with that. I was like, I was the only one. I posted something about this, and like a lot of people saw it. Nobody liked it. I ended up deleting it because I thought maybe this kind of does sound insensitive. I'm high. I'm posting this, but I thought he looked a lot like Tim Curry, and I posted that for some reason. It must have
In that
insulted
picture
people.
that I keep seeing, whenever it like people are talking about it, that's the only way I knew how it looked. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
You look a little haggard right there.
Right, compared to all the other ones, he's all in a suit. Fucking, you know, his hair is all done up nice and shit.
I like that. I want to see the like chain smoking like Elon Musk, who always looks like that, just all kind of like fucked up with like a slack jawed look on his face. I want that to be like Elon Musk. I want him to be an eccentric billionaire inventor who just has like a chip on his shoulder, like a 1940s like cop or something like that.
Right.
I'm into that. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, totally.
Oh man. So yeah, that was at PAX in Seattle. So shout out to my team that I had in PAX in Seattle. A couple of them said they would take a listen.
Hey, look behind you real quick.
Oh shit. Whoa. You manifested a fucking walrus on the Chromecast.
I mean, yeah.
That's well, why are you showing me this picture of Justin Long? I don't get it.
And then she comes back to it. She's like, I love you.
Oh, and then she throws in the fish
Yeah,
and just sadly hobbles over to it.
That's fucking
And that's the
bro.
end of the movie.
But the way he's looking up at her, like just so like, it's so sad
He
and good.
as a, I mean,
Fucking good.
I'm not exact. There's not a lot of precedent for how a man who's been surgically turned into a walrus
Like, it was gonna
would behave. But I've got to say, Justin Long should be the authority on that one.
Yeah.
We really should consider that to be the
He's
that's
like
the right way to act.
a cock-a-roach, you know, like I would have given up like the second that you surround, like the very first time I realized
Where did that
was a
extra
walrus.
syllable in cockroach come from?
Because they'll withstand anything. Like at a certain point, a man's will has to go down, and like if you were surrounded in your own
Cock-a-roach.
body and realized you're a walrus now, and you like are still just going by life as cheerful and like like I'm just gonna like just chilling here. No, you're a fucking cockroach. Like you're not even a real, you're not even a real fucking thing.
Is that how you say cock? Okay, you can
cock-a-roach.
make fun of how I say a boot.
Oh, you're
but
saying
but cockroach. That's
that's
weird.
well. Obviously, I'm emphasizing on cock because it's a fucking piece of shit bug.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you
I did.
you have a vendetta against cockroaches, and so
Dude,
you
do
put
you
that
like
inflection
cockroaches?
into it.
What's the problem here? I don't understand what's going on. with
I
this.
don't, but
You're
I didn't.
defending cockroaches right now.
I didn't realize that adding a syllable to the word cockroach was going to offend them.
All those people are gonna at me. A life is a life. I know. I get it. Just leave me alone, okay?
Nah, fuck that. Cockroaches gotta die. I'm not gonna spend. I don't respect them enough to spend that much time saying what they are. That's a whole extra syllable. I got shit to do, man.
Bro, see, this
don't
is why
got
you gotta
time
stop
to
living
fucking-
life and double the speed on your podcast and shit. That way you can take a step back and
I'm
realize-
missing syllables in words that I didn't know were there.
That's what I'm
barely
saying.
Speaking English.
You gotta just slow it down a little bit. I'll help you. Just go with gotta live for the bare necessities. Live for the bare necessities.
My favorite-
the simple bare
Some of the podcasts I listen to,
necessities.
when they like play a song or they like get to like some musical part of it, and it just sounds like complete garbage because it's just like, it's all just like terrible.
Was that what
Because
you're saying was going
it's all
on right
sped
now?
up 1.5 times. It's not meant to do that.
You're saying that my
Fuck.
music was terrible. That's what he's doing right now. He's fucking hating on my song right there. No, I know what you're saying too.
Okay. No, I missed the punchline. I was too busy listening to myself here.
Is there a punchline? I don't even know at this point. We're just kind of rambling.
Oh yeah.
We're just rambling.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's been good.
I
It's
get
been
way
fun.
too easily distracted.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to work tomorrow and do absolutely nothing for a half day, and then
Oh,
I get
man.
off to go hang out with the artist friend of mine that I've never met actually, but I've been friends with her over social media because I
Look
post.
at you
post
making
your stuff.
friends on the internet.
You know, so she's really cool. I've been posting her art for a while and been very inspired by it. Joey as well. And we've both had like a friendship with her, and so we're gonna actually go hang out and make some art together tomorrow. So it's like one of those things. That's like,
That's
wait,
rad.
I have free time. I can like request off for work. I can choose a day that's worth it, and this makes sense. Like I can go now we can go out and I can create art without worrying about anything.
You know, and that's a very like talking to people. 'Cause I'm a believer in this weird idea that most people are actually pretty cool, and like making friends like on the internet and then having that translate into real life because you guys actually genuinely share those same interests. Because I mean, the likelihood of you happening to run into people who just you really click with, I mean, it's there. It's as likely as anything else, but it's not like guaranteed. But that's like a way to actually like, curate a real community of people and that are like in your life,
and it has
that share the same kind of interests.
Absolutely.
And that just seems like such a. I mean, I'm just trying to inoculate against people who think like, or who still weirdly think that that's something weird.
Yeah, like it's
but like it's so fucking cool
that
when
it's
that
superficial,
happens, man.
and it's like no, it's not, because you could actually have eventually this relationship. But what it really comes down to is the fact that you're communicating with somebody and you can see, even if it's not exactly how their life is. I'm not going to say that it's completely the most perfect representation of themselves, but you can definitely get to know somebody enough online through a bunch of things to say that, hey, they're your friend. That's how I think about it. Like, I mean, shit, I just watched that movie fucking Her with Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm thinking like, holy shit, that fucked my head up in a way, like, with the whole fucking, our computers and shit being our girlfriends or whatever. Like, that shit was like, whoa, painted a pretty unique picture that you're just like, this is a very fucking interesting movie.
Yeah.
Very thought-provoking.
Yeah. I think it's also a real, I think we're staring down the barrel of that.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what the podcast was about. With
that's the
fucking,
whole thing was.
Yeah, it was just talking about like we can't stop it, and that's what I got with Elon Musk was also like it was kind of like he's a lot more optimistic, obviously, about it, and nothing has been created yet that has become like the next generation's destroyer of worlds per se. So it's not like that dude that you see, whatever his name was, that created the atom bomb, and he's on TV later and he's just kind of got this like completely just defeated, like he's just like he's checked out, like he's accepted his fate as just being like the guy who created the atom bomb and fucking what's his real name?
I don't remember.
Yeah, but like you always see that video, like, or that thing that they used to show you where he's just like sitting there talking about it, like, yeah, he knew that he created the destroyer of worlds, and like Elon Musk is just telling on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's like, I mean, I warned them, I told them not to to be careful, they don't listen to me, they're just gonna keep going. So he's already like, it's foreshadowing that like shit, it's gonna get fucking crazy, but it is better to keep an optimist.
Right. It makes sense that like once you let that happen, like we cede our position as like the apex predator of Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
That being said, but if it's a being that is like, capable of cognition far beyond our own abilities, do we just accept that and trust it?
Well, people aren't. So the people like we you and I might be able to. It's still gonna be fucking weird.
I think I do.
Yeah, I mean, we have to.
I think I've already given into the robot.
If it's already happening and it's going that way, like, you're not going to stop it. If you look back in history, there's absolutely no stopping it from happening that way. So it's like, and like what he was saying, going into these things with a more optimistic attitude definitely will shift things better. And it's always better. What does he say? I'd rather be optimistic and be wrong than to be pessimistic and be right.
That that resonated with me too when he said that. So I'm like, I like that. I like that summary. That sums up kind of how I generally feel pretty well.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Robots, bring it on. Because it's gonna bring stuff. Well, I don't want to rehash like the exact same conversation, because that was just me listening and going, oh yeah, I agree with all that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been reading like those Mobius comics, the old French, Mobius comics, which pretty much have inspired so much of the fucking, like, when you read them, you're like, holy shit, these people have straight jacked shit for all of their movies, and not even credited them, like so many science fiction movies and just concepts and theories in these shows or movies that have been, released in the last like 4 or 5 years, or even through the 80s, have definitely had all the same things. And it's not to say he's the only one, but it's like, you're starting to realize, fuck, like the way he describes things in the future, I'm like, fuck, this is, I can see that fucking happening, like it could definitely, it's crazy, but you could it is happening right now. Like, you know, everything, the signs are all there. There's like technology that's like already created that we have no idea, you know, what it is.
Oh, there's some truly like terrifying technology that I don't even like, that I know of.
Yeah.
And don't talk about, that I see.
And then there's the
things
ones
on,
we
that it's
don't
like,
know about. So
yeah.
But-
I mean, just the like, oh man, the scariest one for me is like the technology that people have now to get like perfect like video renderings of people and like recreate them, and then like basically like puppet them too. And like the demonstration video I saw was like somebody, like they had the camera on one guy, and then you see like Barack Obama's face on another screen. And
yeah, you were
he's
telling me
there
about that.
talking.
So you
and
can
like
pretend to be somebody else.
and they can have the same voice and everything
Yeah.
too. And it's like, it's almost like it's very, very close to perfect.
To where you know it's going to be that way. It's
Like,
going
you
to
know
be
it's going to be perfect.
indistinguishable in like a year.
And yeah,
You know.
and it's like, damn, like these people are like, I don't know if we're ready to counter that yet as a
We're
society.
not.
Like there are so many of these things that are coming, and then when they hit, they're just going to, like the first hit is going to be catastrophic, you know? And we're not doing anything to prepare for things like that.
I
And
think we'd have to treat it much like we already have to treat just about everything else, because it is the same thing as, you know, the nuclear bomb or the atom bomb. It's like these people do have it, and there's always been threats since they've existed for people to do that. It's like kind of like the ultimate thing. Everybody's just fucking checking the other person. Hey, hey, you know, got their finger up here like this, like, I'll do it, motherfucker. I'll do it. But we don't. You know why? Because we don't want it to happen. Like ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, at least the side that it's on right now is that most people don't really want it to happen. Even the ones that are fucking pieces of shit at the top. Like there's a lot of shit that's like
most people, but there are some people.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it couldn't happen.
There are people that
Yeah.
are completely unhinged and detached from reality that currently are the only ones that can press a button that launches a nuclear missile.
Right.
And that should scare the shit out of everybody.
It should.
Every single moment of every single day.
But I think it does scare the shit out of people. But I think the fact that it's also it has come this far where they didn't just do that because I mean, when you think about it, it's like, if somebody's like batshit crazy and they're going to their end, like, you know, they've given up on everything. What's to stop them from doing that? There's obviously something bigger in my mind that has at least allowed us to get this far, and it can keep going.
Well,
that way.
I am not as confident. I'll tell you why. There was a book that came out this week. I don't know if you've heard, but Bob Woodward, Bob Woodward, the journalist who, you know, uncovered Watergate and took down the Nixon presidency, and who was portrayed by Robert Redford in All the President's Men.
Right.
He came out with a book this week, and it paints this picture of the president that is like, oh shit, like everything that we see on TV is everything that he is, like behind the scenes too. It's exactly the same. It was just confirming what we all knew, but there was some like disconcerting stuff in there, like you know, when it came to Assad, he was giving commands to say, let's assassinate President Bashar al-Assad of Syria. And that is like, you can't just do that. You can't just order the assassination of another like another foreign head of state without even consulting anybody, without like thinking about it twice, without even like really. And this is an emotional, like just gut reaction where he wants to just assassinate that guy. And I'm thinking, fuck, this guy's just so wildly dangerous. And then when you couple that with the there was a New York Times op-ed that came out, you know, last week that everybody's talking about how like the people who are actually in the cabinet and in the White House and these senior staff and stuff like that, they're removing things from his desk, and they're like lying to him. So they're trying to play him because they know like what he actually wants to do is launch the nuclear codes, you know? And he's absolutely unstable. And now that they fucking came out with it, now I'm sure he's gonna be extra paranoid. It's a whole fucking, it's a mess, man.
Which,
and everybody is sprinting to the end right here because we vote in 54 days, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 54 days we have an election, and if that goes their way, I don't know what's gonna like. happen to all of us. But that's why it's so important that
nobody does. So that's the other thing too. Nobody knows what's going to happen.
Oh no, I know it's going to be very bad.
Yeah.
These last 2 years were worse than I imagined that they would be. But
back to what we were saying though about the fact that it still hasn't been pressed yet, or that it still hasn't happened. Not saying that it couldn't, and it's not saying that you shouldn't be concerned about it, or that you shouldn't make these things apparent to other people who may not know. Obviously, yes, do all of that. But it's still, finding that balance of the confidence and hope that it's not going to happen, because of the fact that it's still, I think, like he was saying, I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right.
Well, I just don't want somebody to be optimistic and apathetic.
Well, there's definitely levels on both ends where people are too optimistic and too pessimistic too. I think that's where that balance comes in. Because you can't be too much of one or the other. You can't be blindly optimistic and be like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine. I mean, you can, and perception is everything. And if that person goes to death like fucking feeling fine, then whatever, that's their own thing. But I see what you're saying, and that's not. I don't think that humanity is as bad. I have faith more in humanity than most systems or anything that we can even possibly think of to try to correct the problems.
Well, yeah, and I do as well, and I think the problem is that a very small sect of people kind of gets in and inserts themselves into because they are seeking power and money and control and things like that.
Right.
And they insert themselves into these ways, and they use these underhanded tactics that really don't follow. They're not in the spirit of what, American values like are and have been, or at least what we've claimed they've been,
right.
And I think the one good thing about these last 2 years is the amount of enthusiasm and the people that are jumping into this full spirited, like ready to go. People, I mean, doing more than myself. People who are running for office now and stuff like that, and winning at these fucking crazy rates. Like we're pulling the entire the conversation to the left, to actual real solutions to a lot of these problems that we have here. And we're on the verge of what I think could be real dramatic change. And I think a lot of people...
Well, it has to happen, though. That's the thing. It has to happen. It is happening because it has to happen, even though that.
But nobody's going to do it for us.
Nobody is.
It's not going to
happen.
Nobody's
ever.
If we
but
aren't
nobody
all out there
doing
something.
But you realize though, because we talk about how unprecedented a lot of the things are. Like circumstantially, yes, unprecedented. But when you look at the patterns of the significant change happening because of something boiling down to this having to happen, a thing becoming so just piled up with shit that after generations, this frequently does happen in its own way. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it has to happen. As long as we are surviving and living, and as long as there's human beings on this planet, it has to happen. And it is our job individually to do what we can, because everybody has strengths and weaknesses, or strengths that lie in different places. Some people are going to be obviously more equipped to go run for office and actually make a change in that
absolutely.
regard. And then there's people that do and nothing really, as long as you're pure at heart and actually going for it and doing something, we need all the bases covered. You need everything to go down. I do see what you're saying, though. Complacency is definitely a problem.
Well, just in that people who aren't even they won't even. You can register to vote online,
right?
And then you can submit a vote by mail.
Yeah. And everything that happened,
it takes
now everybody's
takes 20 minutes of your life entirely.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing record voter registration. We don't know if that's gonna. I hesitate to speak too positively, because then I get flashbacks of 2016 when I was like, oh yeah, well, I mean, Donald Trump's not gonna win, but this is already gonna be bad, just because he got this far. And then I'm like, oh shit, okay, this got really bad.
It's the Donald conspiracy, bro. You had to get a Donald Trump to be like the Don King back in the day, to get people hyped up to want to come buy this fucking pay-per-view shit. They're going to come now and they're going to fucking vote. The motherfuckers registered because they already seen the scandalous shit go down. It's fucking God's fucking pay-per-view, fucking ticket. It's like, here you go. What's going to happen? Is this motherfucker going to get elected the second term? Is he going to go fucking destroy the United States of America? Watch.
Yeah, definitely fucking watch, man, because it's been nuts. And now we got a fucking hurricane that's about to slam into South Carolina.
And he's over there worrying about burning the Nikes still and shit. That's what somebody, I don't know. You get your shit through Twitter. I get my shit through this emo cat. He does comics and stuff.
Okay.
He does these stupid comics, and I don't really know exactly what he's trying to play off. I'm just guessing.
He's on after Anderson Cooper, right? on CNN?
No.
Yeah, it's Anderson Cooper, then oh no, it's Wolf Blitzer, then Anderson Cooper, then Emo Cat. And then I think they finish off with
something like that. Yeah, that's who I get.
Okay, yeah. Don Lemon. Yeah.
Total.
Oh man. But yeah, no, it's like they're trying to ram okay. I'll tell this other story. I was I'll tell it to myself. I was out canvassing for Harley Ruda, who if you don't know, he is running for Congress and in the 40th district where we broadcast from and where I know a lot of our listeners are from because we are mostly out here. And I was out canvassing for the other day, and it was really actually cool to be involved, kind of be out there, and you just feel better about yourself as you're doing it. And the people that you do find when you're out there knocking on doors, talking to people about the candidate, trying to just raise some awareness on not just the election, but what's important to them and get some feedback and stuff like that. That is the heart of, political movements. A lot of it is volunteers just getting out there, hitting the pavement, going door to door, talking to people on an individual level, and letting them know that there are people who represent their interests and they respect that. If you really want to see change, you've got to, at some point you got to volunteer. And so that was my first canvassing time out there, and it was a really interesting experience in that most people, 80% of the doors, they're not home or they're pretending that they're not home and not doing such a great job about it. That's okay. Don't take that personally. And then you do end up talking to people who they seem involved, but they don't really know enough about their local spots. And the people, I was able to sway, I think probably like 4 or 5 people to vote for him in the 3 hours that I was out there. And that is something that doesn't seem like a lot, but really that is like the way to, you're guaranteed to get in. That's how so many of these people who are running these very small, kind of not very well-funded campaigns and stuff like that, the people who aren't taking giant corporate donors and shit, all these things you're seeing from Democratic Socialists, putting candidates forth. That is the kind of thing that actually gets people to get excited, to get inspired, and to get out there and to vote. So yeah, I highly encourage anybody who wants to kind of look into that stuff. And if you guys go to votesaveamerica.com, that is where you can put in your information. You can check your own voter registration status because a lot of people have been getting purged from voter rolls and stuff like that, and people they're signed up for the wrong party or they're not sure if they're registered or not. And so that's the way it takes literally 2 minutes, and you check, and if you're not registered, you can register right there online too. And then you get all your polling information, stuff like that. And if you want, you give them an email address, and they send you what local political canvassing events and things like that, phone banking stuff, like calling people, just reminding people to get out the vote. If you really want to feel like you do something, go ahead, check that out. And I promise, the 30 minutes that take you is going to make you feel so much better about your day. And if you actually go out and do it, that 3 hours that you spend on that weekend, it's a really rewarding experience. And so I want everybody to.
I waste 8 hours a day literally clicking on Facebook and Instagram. So I know y'all have the time to do this shit. I'm
absolutely
at work, just fucking sitting there and just, I should do this. Oh wait, what? A dog fucking jumping, doing backflips? What the fuck?
Well,
you're just any stupid shit. I'm just what?
You need something to talk about when you go to the door.
Exactly.
You got to start with the common ground.
And it doesn't.
And maybe it's hey, I'm out here to talk about the election, but have you seen this dog that just backflips?
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa. I also just realized a weird thing. In that I've been using a pop socket for so long, my hand symbol for showing you my phone was this weird Star Trek thing.
A pop socket? Is that the thing that you gave me for?
Yeah,
I don't have on my phone.
Yeah, the thing that goes on the back of your phone here.
This is my other phone, but
now
I have 2 phones.
I just realized I do this fucking Spock now or something.
Right.
Oh man. So yeah, no, it's. We need some accountability back. And hey, if you guys want to, if you're just itching to talk some more about it, trust me, I got you. Just reach out. All right, I will be happy to go into further and further detail. But it is, get out, vote, do that, and call your senator, call everybody's senator, and tell them not to vote for fucking Brett Kavanaugh, who will overturn Roe v. Wade.
Fuck Brett Kavanaugh.
Will get rid of.
I don't even know who he is, but I don't like them by his name.
Yeah, we're about to outlaw abortion in this country again.
Really?
And really dial in corporate finance, basically everything that we want. They're trying to appoint a dude in his 40s who's going to live for a very long time to a lifetime appointment where he's just going to shit on the next 40 years of this country.
Damn.
It's a big fucking deal. There's
Right.
actually some gangster shit that went down, man. There was
why don't the Mexican mafia just wipe these dudes out? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's getting so
just
crazy.
Kidding. I'm joking. I don't want anybody to
You
get
realize
wiped
that
out
joke
by
is a
the
federal crime, right?
Yeah,
It's like a federal
I'm
misdemeanor.
Totally not serious about that in any way.
Okay. But yeah, Cory Booker, who's a senator from New Jersey, he got all these documents that were supposed to be private and classified as told by the people who are trying to ram Brett Kavanaugh through. They've been classifying documents that don't need to be classified, but they're damaging to this candidate because they want to jam him in there before we get to the election. Because if we elect him and we swing the House and shit, maybe even the Senate at this point, then their whole world comes crashing down, because then we've got actual people there willing to say, hey, that's clearly illegal. There's clearly, you guys are working for Russia. This is, this tax break thing is complete bullshit that you guys just rammed through because you have the majority and you're using, Senate jujitsu to pass all these monstrous fucking concepts. Yeah. And, where was I going with that?
You lost me at Senate jujitsu.
Yeah. Well,
I just imagined senators doing jujitsu in the White House. They're just rolling around on a mat and shit, just fucking putting each other in fucking
dude. Not too far off. This shit might sound boring, but if you watch it, it's fucking crazy. They're screaming at each other. There's people getting hauled out of there. There's 30 arrests made in the first 10 minutes of the Brett Kavanaugh hearings.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it was crazy because they know this is going to be very, very fucking bad if this guy gets in there. And there's nothing that we can do for 40 years if this happens. And so, Cory Booker. Yeah, so he released some private documents, classified documents that are very against Senate rules. And he's I don't fucking care. This is the thing. If you guys want to take away my senatorship, do it. All right. But it is my duty to get this out there because we can this is more important than my job in my political career. And so he released all the classified documents, which is I don't know, I think it's a felony or something like that. And he's I don't care what you guys do. All right, the people need to know I'm doing it. And I was that is some patriotic shit right there, man. It was really fucking cool.
Some gangster shit.
Yeah. So I like that. Shout out to Cory Booker. Fuck Brett Kavanaugh.
Fuck Brett Kavanaugh.
Woo!
But yeah, well, everybody get your asses out there and vote, and then Phil will be very happy when the elections come out and Donald Trump is no longer our president.
Well, yeah, we do what we can do. Things are looking
I will
up,
be too.
but
I think you will be too.
we cannot slack, and we always got to be wary that the Russians are also in the voting system too. So
sneaky
keep an eye out for
Russians.
Fucking Ruskies. And so yeah, I have officially eaten at the 20 minutes past what is our usual runtime.
Right.
So, it's
been a while,
Any parting words to go here? I still had more shit to talk about.
I mean, shit. It's nobody's saying that you can't, but we could always get it in on the next podcast episode.
Okay, I will save my anecdote about this Asian lady who was afraid of heights and her 3 friends who were fucking with her in the most hilarious way I've ever seen. And it was adorable to watch these 65-year-old group of Chinese ladies just fuck with each other like they were in high school or middle school or some shit like that. It was great.
Awesome. I love that kind of shit.
And this fucking ATV that I just took to San Francisco from Anaheim. I'll tell that story next time.
Wait, what? You drove an ATV from San Fran to Anaheim?
Guess you'll have to tune in next week.
I guess you'll have to tune in next week.
Man.
I gotta wait till next week to hear about this. Anyways, this month we've got some pretty cool things going on. This weekend, if you have a chance to go check out Cosmic Gardens in Apple Valley, it's a music festival out there. Go ahead and Google that. It's Cosmic with a K. Gardens. A lot of our friends are going to be spinning out there. It's
Gardens with an L, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Is it?
No, not really.
I don't know. I wouldn't be so fucking surprised.
I'm just here to
the way
fuck
they
with
spell
plugs.
DJs' names and shit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really cool. And I wish I could go. I'm stuck working this weekend. And then we are having Art in the Park. I haven't, again, announced it yet. I haven't posted a flyer, but it's going to be the 30th. So the last Sunday, in fact, the last day of the month.
The last day of the month.
And it'll be the same day as Base Waffles, but we'll be heading over there as well afterwards. So definitely come by. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Don't worry, you guys can hit both.
Yes.
Oh, man. That reminds me. Got my high school reunion around that time, too. And that's a whole other fucking story. I'll tell that next time as well.
Right on.
Oh, man.
I didn't get a high school reunion. Our fucking ASB
Because you didn't graduate high school?
Well, that too.
Oh, okay.
No, our ASB president, she just like didn't give a fuck. She skipped town. She just like left. Like I didn't know how it works.
Is that a thing?
That's-
Does the
I
ASB
guess-
president
I guess
actually organize the high school
That
reunion?
was the explanation I got for why didn't we have a fucking reunion, and they said that it's the ASB president that's in charge. Like they signed this fucking pact with her in high school. Like
That's so fucking
it's
okay.
crazy. Like they're the ones that are gonna come back and set this reunion up. Like what if they became famous? Like what the fuck?
Dude.
Like why are they gonna want to come back to this fucking shitty school and give us a reunion? Like why are they gonna like? How are you gonna expect a senior in high school to make that sort of commitment?
Dude, the ASB president of like my senior year like was organizing it, and I was like, I was writing on Facebook like, oh damn, I didn't realize that I signed you guys up for a lifetime appointment when you guys do this. Like fucking respect, you guys are like Supreme Court judges and shit.
Yeah, seriously.
That's
though.
fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't realize that was a thing. How
Yeah.
fucking weird.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So
let's dig deeper on this next time.
Unless there was some other shit going on, and I wasn't too mad that I didn't have a fucking high school reunion to go to for our tenure or whatever. I mean, I pretty much see anybody who I care to see from high school still, on.
Facebook has made them a lot less necessary.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of things that I'd be like really surprised about if I saw people now, but I'm just like, oh, but I still see all you people like, kind of keep up with your lives.
That
like,
is
at
true.
least on a superficial level.
That is true. Oh man, like that goes along with everything I've been saying about how we take for granted, like how much technology has changed our lives in the world. But anyway.
Robots.
Yep, getting off of that. So tune in next time on the Let It Bleed podcast. Thanks for tuning in today. And I don't know what I'm going to say right now because
Will they talk about a high school reunion?
Yeah.
Will they? Will David ever finish the story?
Will David smoke more?
Is he
weed
going to
than
take a
did
little bit of a
this
break
time?
from weed? Find out next time on the Let It Bleed podcast.
Probably not. Don't hold your breath.
What's that thing that you always say to end the podcast that I think you actually did forget about?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I already said it, so that's why I said, as always, let it bleed.
Oh, okay. Fuck me then.